You're watching Peace Country Presents on CJDC TV.
Welcome back to Peace Country Presents Peace Profiles. When I say the name Pat Ferris, you probably think of bikes and cycling. And Pat is known for his work with the Blizzard Bike Club and also his bike shop in Fort St. John. But Pat is adding another talent to his list. He's an author. He's written a book in his spare time. And as you'll see, that book doesn't stray too far from what he already knows.
Well, about 6 or 7 years ago, I got the idea that I was maybe going to write a story. There's a friend of mine that's a novel writer in Vancouver, and she gave me some ideas. I thought, well, maybe I could do that, because I was pretty good in, was a well-known English guy in school, plus being a mechanic. The mechanic kind of took precedent over that, pays the bills better than the English part. But I thought, well, I'll try it. So about 5 years ago, I was seriously into it, started writing a story, some trial and tribulations with it, and people trying it out and seeing how it looked, and eventually I actually wrote a novel that should be just about ready to come out in early February. The story itself, it's about an immigrant, impoverished gal from Trinidad. She's moved to Tucson, Arizona to try to make her way to get some education so she can get in on the industrial aspect of Trinidad to make some money. She's not doing very well where she is. So she arrives in Tucson, can't get into the university after all, they have her money. So she's basically trapped in the States, a stranger in a strange land. Walks the streets looking for some way of making a living, meets up with a guy from northern Canada who happens to be a cyclist, and the little group of cyclists all get together and she kind of joins in with their adventures, and there's a love interest to it. And yeah, I think it's be interesting. It's odd and different, particularly because of the people themselves. I've tried to stress the fact their differences. Normally people look kind of the same, but these people are very different. The girl is like 6'2", Trinidad black girl. Her boyfriend is like 5'5", red-haired, white-skinned young man from northern Alberta, so they obviously look different when they're out walking around. They're all cyclists, so cyclists dress peculiar with our spandex and our weird ways and our weird bicycles, so we stand out as well too. So this whole group stands out. They're their own little community unto themselves. Even cycling is an experience. It's like anything else. Writing a novel, you're conjuring up a whole different world. You're inventing a situation. By the fact that I'm cycling, I see and I hear, I talk to people. We tend to, of course, you pick up all the cycling periodicals, all the cycling magazines to see who's doing what. So it kind of weaves a story. You see there's a bit of drama and adventure and that going with your sport all around you. And then the fact that you're traveling, you see other people that are maybe not directly involved with cycling, but they're a part of it. The wives, the husbands, the kids that may not be a part of the sport, or they are. So you also have time to think about it when you're riding your bike and you're riding up this long hill, and your mind is blank, but ideas will pop into it. You're thinking about what could be, what the possibilities are. An inspiration may come when you're sitting in the restaurant after a bike ride, and you hear somebody talking behind you. They're talking about, you only hear one sentence of a situation. You go, wow, that would be cool. I could put that in. Is that novel worthy? Maybe I'll put that in my story. You can always make the specific sport as part of your book as well too. So I mean, if you're, I don't know, a rodeo guy or something, you can say, you put an aspect of that. But ultimately, there's a whole wide world that goes on around that may not be any different for any sport, but your specific is quite different depending on what sport you're doing. Cycling is something I know a lot, but a lot of that I wrote in the book is conjecture. It's imagination. I'm building other than the nuts and bolts and the mechanics of it that I understand, and some of the tactics, but I get to make it anything I want. But by the same token, it's not a real thing. The character of the story is somebody I have no idea would even exist, and I've never even been to where the heroine of the story comes from. It's to make an adventure story, to make something fun, to take you away from your everyday duties, to read the story and you go follow the adventure and cheer for the good guys and boo for the bad guys, and that's what it's all about. Because you never know if a publisher's going to pick it up. I mean, there's a ton of really good stuff out there. so I don't know if it'll ever be published. So rather than be the one where you do this book and you're the only one that does it, I want to have enough copies to try it, send it out, and then wait and see after. So the rest will be great. We'll see how it goes. The Peace Country has a tremendous amount of talented people here. And I think at times people kind of forget that. I don't think the Peace Country residents give themselves enough credit. We're basically a very humble bunch. We're not much to blow our own horn. I mean, if you look around the town, you don't see a huge amount of evidence, although the city's talking about having kind of a Hall of Fame, which I think is a great idea. There's been Olympic medals. Bo Hedges just came back from a gold medal from the Paralympics. He's one of a number of Olympic medals come from Fort St. John. But I don't think people, particularly people that move here, I think they're assuming that small town, that means there isn't anything here. I think we kind of get, people tend to kind of look down their nose at us because we're not Vancouver or Victoria, but I'd say we're as good, as strong as any community in Canada. I'd be challenging anybody to compare notes and we'll see who comes out on top. A city of go-getters, like when people, you don't come to Fort St. John if you don't want to be here. You know, with rare exception. I mean, as people get transferred, maybe have to be here, but by and large, people come here because they want to be here, and if they're here for any more than a year or two, they're lifers and they want to stay. And we tend to, you know, as a community, we want something, we go after it. I mean,
Pat did tell me that copies of his book will be available in his bike shop in the new year. Coming up after the break, I'm going to tag along with a local writer to her favorite place in the Peace region, where she feels most at home. Stay tuned.
You're watching Peace Country Presents on CJDC TV.